Kino pavasaris. Kovo 18, balandžio 5 dienomis visoje Lietuvoje. Didysis partneris Ergo draudimo grupė. Informaciniai partneriai TV3, 15 min žmonės.
Mūsų karta pirmoji supratusi, kaip iš lėto kenkiame gamtai. Ir vienintelė, žinanti, kad dar yra laiko ją išsaugoti. Apsaugokime mūsų visų ateitį. Ergo.
Geriausius kino pavasario filmus parodys žiūrimiausia televizija TV3. Šeštadieniais 22:40.
Festivalis Kino pavasaris jūsų namuose. Visus filmus žiūrėkite Telia televizijoje jums patogiu metu. Telia. Įdomiau tik gyvenimas.
Įtraukia nuo pat pirmųjų sekundžių. Vienu prisėdimu abi serijos susivalgė. Kaip lietuviškas tikrai neblogas.
Sveiki, Kino pavasario 15 min žiūrovai. Taigi šiandien tęsime pažintį su Europos debiutų konkurso režisieriais ir kalbėsime su Jacqueline Lentzou, filmo MĽULIS 66 klausimai režisiere iš Graikijos. Ir aš norėčiau priminti mus žiūrintiems, kad jūs galite rašyti komentaruose klausimus. Tai labai lauksime jų. Na, o aš sveikinusi su Jacqueline. Hi, Jacqueline. Hello.
Hi, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I wanted to say thank you for finding time, and of course, thank you for your film as well. We're really proud to show the film after the Berlin. And first of all, I thought how to start this conversation, and I was thinking maybe to start from the opening scene, because I was rewatching it a couple of times, actually many times. I really liked the way you start the film. I think you put the question of what it means to be close in a very kind of open and strong way. It's, I think, very strong opening of the film and the theme. But I was curious as well about the home videos that you use in the beginning, and maybe you could comment a bit about the beginning and about those videos and what it meant for you.
Yes, first of all, it's very interesting because many people very often ask me if these are real home videos and whether I have found them. However, I shot them, and I'm very happy about it because I really like, in my work, creating something with an essence of the past. And we shot them, first of all, so it's not found footage. And I really had a very intense desire to recreate what her father would shoot. And I felt that it would be mostly empty of people, places, somehow echoing his only esoteric loneliness and his separation from society due to the secret. But about the beginning of the film, thank you for liking it. We worked in the edit very, very hard because we wanted somehow to, as you very correctly observed, show the question and at the same time in a not so profound way. So with the voiceover in the aeroplane without having seen her face already, it was more like a poem at the beginning. You didn't know who was talking, you didn't know what they were talking about. It was mostly images, and it was very intuitive, the beginning, because given that we had as a name with my editor to create something like a map of one's heart, it couldn't begin differently. It couldn't begin in a more structured way. We needed this freedom at the beginning in order somehow to hook you and then be interested in the journey of that girl.
And maybe you could tell me a bit about the writing process of the film. How long did it take for you? And maybe what was the initial idea and how it's transformed throughout the writing process?
I know that I will make this film since I'm since 2012, actually, when I met this father and this daughter. And I started writing it, some notes at least, since 2015. And onwards, I was very lucky to be accepted in several talent labs and scriptwriting workshop labs. And this is how also I was in Vilnius one time with Torino Film Lab in 2017. I was in Vilnius. And it was a very long process, and I got a lot of feedback. However, what was interesting for me is that I did not keep the feedback. So at the end, I was much closer to my initial idea than to the several ideas that could pop up in any workshop, let's say. And I have to say that also a lot of writing, in a way, happened in the editing room, for sure. For sure. Like, I had to cut out a lot of scenes. Then I wanted to make it much more focused on the father and the daughter. So, it was a lot of rewriting, in a way, in the editing.
And maybe you could talk a bit about the actress, Sofia Kokali. And because for me, it seems that no other actress could be Artemis. I don't know why I had this very strong feeling that it's almost like you're watching a documentary, that kind of strong sensation of watching her in this role, because you just can't imagine anyone else. So maybe you could tell me, how did you start to work with her? Was she already in your mind in the beginning, maybe, and how you worked with her?
Yes, of course, it was always in my mind. And imagine, I knew that I would work with her on this film since 2017. And in order, in a way, to test out if indeed it could work, because I could see that she's amazingly talented and we had a very good communication. So we shot a short film before the feature film. We shot Hector My Love, The Last Day of the Year, in 2018. And then we shot another short. And then we shot the feature. And as you very, very well put it, it couldn't be another girl. Because it's a mixture of our biographies, our view on life, and our relationship with our own parents. So it was, yes, she's amazing, and it couldn't be another person for sure.
As you mentioned a bit already now, that it was a lot of, maybe not a lot, but you felt personal. But I actually wanted to ask how personal the story was for you, and at least maybe what elements did you felt that was very important for you to talk about in terms of for relations with the family?
Yes, I mean, it's somehow obvious if someone sees my filmography that there is a specific focus in problematic, in quotation marks, families, because all families as structures are problematic, unfortunately. It's a very long topic. So yes, all of my works have some biographical elements, and this as well. I wouldn't like to say which ones. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters is that I really wanted to make a film about people that cannot express their love both towards each other but towards other people. Let's say the father character that was not allowed by society to express his love. And then you have several questions about what could have happened had he been free to say, yes, I want this guy, you know what I mean? Would he be sick? Would have he been healthy? So anyway, it's very important for me to make this film to stress the huge importance, not in life, in actual life, in our health, to express our truth. And this is why I decided to have this also cinematic approach. As you said, at some point you feel it's like a documentary. I totally wanted that. I didn't want any beautification. I was not in this film interested in having the amazing frame and the amazing lighting. I was more interested in excavating the truth. And I really believe that both performances, the father and the daughter, achieved that in combination to how we shot it. And yes, so it has I think if I'm about to really focusly reply to your answer, the important fact that comes from my own life and I want to put in this film is that only truth, no matter how hard, can move us forward.
Yeah, and actually, because you're saying about the truth, I was really curious to ask you about the scene where we see the tarot card, the world, and then we see like this kind of universe, or I don't know, the impression of that, and we see the words, now she knows it's finally better. You almost answered that, but I anyway really wanted to ask you how the scene came out, how you put it together.
Yes, first of all, this shot exists in our previous short film. So we literally took a shot from our other short film called The End of Suffering, and where also Sophia stars. And you know what I want to do is that, you know, you're watching this girl, you don't really know what she's doing, she's mostly bored, she doesn't have anyone to talk to, but somehow she's speaking to herself, you know? And speaking to yourself, usually, to me at least, underlines loneliness. Let it be comedic or not, you know, you're speaking to yourself. What does this mean? Speaking to oneself. It's similar to writing. You write when it's not to be published for you to read someday, let's say. So it's a very, you consume what you produce in a way. So I found it a very upbeat and lighthearted note to somehow in the film make her connect with everything the moment she finds out her father's truth. In a way, this is where all this, the rest is solved. You don't have the angst to talk to yourself because you have the answer. You know, creating all this, let's say, chaos around you, it's usually to fill in some space, to fill in a gap. You don't know usually what this gap is. And let's say in the particular film, if her big gap is that she's in a house and she's taking care of her father, but she doesn't really know who the person is, okay, and this is why she's so stressed out and she's so angst and she's not very well, then you have the answer. This is why your father was like that when you were growing up. And somehow we connected here to the universe. It was a very big risk to put this in the film because I know that people that really want very fixed genre films are somehow shocked by other touches. But I think it's very important, especially when you're a young filmmaker and you know, I want to try out stuff, and I hope it will work for most, this decision.
Yeah, the things you're saying is really, I mean, you have your argumentation why you did it like that. And I feel that really it transmits the message of, you know, finally kind of connecting, because the secret, which maybe you didn't even know, it was kind of blocking you from the true connection, which is, of course, sometimes you don't know that there is something blocking the connection, but you feel that there is no connection with other person. So I feel that you really nicely developed this part and this connection finally by knowing something. But could you say a bit more about the idea of the tarot cards in general in your film, why it was important for you and what it stands for?
Yes, I really want, you know, when you are very young and suddenly your equally young parent gets very, very sick, it's very unfair, seemingly. You're like, why to me? Why? And why? And I have observed that many people in these times look for answers in places that somehow are not the places to look for the answer. I wouldn't call it metaphysic. I cannot find a better word in English. Let's say more magical ways of knowing. Let it be the stars, let it be tarot cards, let it be star signs, let it be religion. You know what I mean? I put them all in a very same umbrella of different alternate ways of knowing that the Western world has totally, silenced and believes that it's all like witches and, stupid people. I really wanted to have Artemis somehow being in this universe only to emphasize how much stressed out she is and how much you can somehow transmit to the viewer that this girl has to find out something. We don't know what, but this is her quest. She doesn't even know what, but we'll make a film that will have tarot cards as chapters, so everyone is going to be in tune, I guess, I hope, in this quest of something. Because I think that we have associated tarot cards with a question, And initially, when I was editing, each tarot card had a question on top. I took them off at the end, and I just left the last one. And so I wanted to create this environment of wanting to find the answer to a question, and at the same time emphasize her personal angst that I would do anything to know. I would even, let's say, listen to we have a scene that she's listening to a astrological sign report, let's say. It all feeds up to her naivety, to her youth, to her need to know. Yes, that's why I put them. And also, aesthetically, for me, tarot cards have something very, very special. I think it has to do with the fact that they come from so many years ago. It's something so old and so ancient. It's not old, it's ancient. And the fact that it's still here with us, it means something, I guess. So I put some wisdom in the film, like for good luck.
And the scenes where Artemis helps her father to move and all this kind of physical, that they are kind of, pushed to get physical, even though they are so not able to communicate. Anyway, it relates to the theme of the sickness and to the unhealthiness. Maybe you could talk a bit about this and how you worked on those scenes and why it was important, this this physical aspect.
Yes, this physical aspect, it's very important for me because it's partially what the film says, that if you don't speak out your soul's desire and if you don't accept yourself, then your own self will attack you at the end. And this is the example of Paris, the father character. The film proposes that because he was not honest with himself, his self somehow decided to destroy him. Now, these words are very heavy, but also multiple sclerosis, the disease that he suffers from, is very, very heavy. And it's a disease that doctors still do not know the cause, like in most autoimmune diseases. So for me, showing the physicality in such a way, it was again to really show the true burden that Artemis is about to take on her shoulders. I somehow laugh at films that want to depict decay and disease, but they do it in a way that it almost seems beautiful to be sick, to make the film better. So somehow people, instead of respecting the disease they want to portray, they want to make the film being an easier film, so somehow they hide the disease. I wanted really to show the disease. This is why the physiotherapy scene is super long. That's why we really follow step by step when she walks her father to change diaper, and physicality and length of time, it's one in this disease. And I wanted to show that this is how time passes in this house. It's a very different thing to say, oh, a very sick father and the daughter is trying to take care of him. Time passes slowly. Just to say it I could say it in a diary. I could, mention it in different ways. And it's a very different thing cinematically to really show the time that it takes for something to happen when someone is going through this. And what does it mean to be the daughter of this father in this situation, in this fucking house? I mean, I was very certain from the beginning. And again, we go to the first question, and it has to do with the truth. I wanted to make a film that when you watch, oh my God, not to say what a beautiful film only. I wanted both to say, oh my God, and what a beautiful film. I don't know if it succeeded.
Because you said that anyway, you wanted it to be both. Maybe you could say a bit about the visual part, how you were working on that. Because anyway, it is a very beautiful film. I mean, it looks, and the colors, the lights. It seems sometimes, you know, that the experiencing really hard feelings and emotions. But anyway, there's a lot of this sunlight and a lot of very beautiful, actually, shots and scenes.
Thank you. Also, something that I don't like at all in cinema is when they make a drama and set, costume, and lighting are all dramatic. Although in real life, something very bad can happen, and in the next corner, something very beautiful is happening, and in the other corner, something equally bad is happening. You know what I mean? And everything is sunny and rainbows all around. This is how life is. This is the paradox of life, and this is why I really enjoy life, because it's so complex. So in the film, since I wanted it to be set in the summer, and we are in Greece, we really made use of the Greek summer sun, which is very, very, very particular, the Greek light. Now I watched the trailer and I'm a bit distracted. Yes, and my visual approach was the word duality. I wanted to have both the VHS texture and all this breaking material, if you wish, because this is how I see the tape nowadays. It's like breaking material, breaking image. It's like a cut photograph. So I want to have this texture in my film to also portray the breaking down of this person. You know. Anyway, I could talk for hours about it because I'm really into form in films and I love it. Anyway, and at the same time, I really want to have a very organic, close to my protagonist, 24/7, almost like surveillance-like essence. Like we are together with her all of the time. Not so much stage stuff and stuff. I wanted everything to be very natural. I don't like FN stuff. And since it's a very natural film in itself, talking about the very natural relationship of a father and a daughter, so it's all nature-wise and health and blah, blah, blah. And it was a lot of paintings, because I'm a big admirer of particular painter. So it was a lot of Gauguin for the VHS sequences, like all the colors that are super surreal. A lot of Gauguin. And then I had a lot of realist paintings for the in the house stuff that are much more common and not so interesting. Yes, it was very nice shooting the film. It was very nice shooting the film because it was very free. It was very free.
And we have one question from the audience. I got the message, and Benita is asking, what does this film mean to you personally?
This film to me personally means my own personal, growing up. I feel that I grew up really with this film. I'm 31, but now I realize that I'm an adult because it's the feature film project as a whole, not a particular one. Moving from the short film world to the feature film world, it's the biggest learning stone I have ever, been through. And also to me personally, because as I have mentioned, there are some autobiographical elements. It means the end of a personal therapy, let's say, and the discussion I had with myself about particular stuff in my life. I made this film and I'm done, I hope.
Congratulations with that. And for the ending of the conversation, maybe you're working already on something new, because you just said that, okay, this is closed. Do you have some new ideas that you're working on and what you're thinking about now?
Yes, yes, I have already written my second script. And also I'm working on another script that I want to shoot before the second, very, very soon. I have to find a way because it's very hard shooting in Greece. Like, anyway. So yes, I have many, many ideas. I was very, I was thinking whether I want to go back to the short film world for a while because it's easier and like make sound because I really want to shoot something. But then I think that it will be like a step back. So I think I wanted to start making feature films with the ease I was making the short films. I don't know how this will happen, but this is my ambition and my dream.
Just one more final question, because you mentioned a bit that it's kind of hard shooting in Greece. Maybe you could say a bit about that, because it's your first feature-length film, and what is the situation actually in Greek film world for the young filmmakers?
The situation, first of all, we did the film with very, very, very little money, which was a very big problem. Of course, this is not a problem of the Greek film industry. This is my script that didn't get the funds. And so it was very hard, very hard. It was like my hair got white. You cannot see from here, but it was a very stressful and bad timing. And in general, filmmaking in Greece is not really supported by the government or by anyone. They don't really care at all. They answer every 2 years. Like, if I want to shoot my film now, I cannot. With the support of the Greek Film Center, I cannot. If I submit now, I will get a reply if I get the money in 2 years' time. This is how it goes. You can imagine that this means, if you put down in math the years, but if I am now 30 years old and I want to stay in Greece, by the end of my life, I will have done maximum 6 films. That's it. This is what, in a way, my country allows me to do, which is very unfair because, I go abroad and my short films at least have been so much celebrated. So everyone abroad thought that I will go back to Greece and Greece will give me the money because I have done something good, let's say, to the culture. I have contributed with my small way to our country's visibility. Like, my film now is playing in new directors, new films at the MoMA. Greek film industry and Greek government does not even know about it. Although it's something important for Greece as a country, you know what I mean? Not for me as a person alone. And they just don't care at all. And yes, and I'm thinking of leaving, to be honest. Now, I don't know if we have time to talk about it, but I'm really thinking of going to a country in which I can practice my craft. And I don't feel that everyone is very pressurized to do it and, the film. It should be like, let's make a film and be happy about it, not let's make a film as if it's the hardest thing in the world because we are in a country that does not care. Yes.
That's really frustrating. But Jacqueline, I really wish you best of luck. I hope it's not going to be so difficult, and really stay focused and stay brave, and it should be okay. I wish you really best of luck. And thank you so much for finding time.
Thank you for the interview and the questions and everything. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Σε ντρέπεται. Έχει γίνει σαν παιδί.
Δεν μιλάμε. Ενώ υπάρχει τεράστια απόσταση. Του μιλούσα και δεν ρωτούσα και δεν απαντούσε. Μαμά, έλεγε μερικές μέρες. Είναι χάλια, δεν θα τα καταφέρω. Δεν μπορώ, ούτως ή άλλως φεύγουμε. Ξέρεις πόσο σ' αγαπάω.
Φτάσαμε.
Φτάνει. Έχω ξεχάσει το πριν. Και το δικό μου πριν και το δικό του. Τι ωραία που θα είναι στο σπίτι στη Βάρκιζα. Θα πάνε όλοι. Νομίζω ότι συνεννοηθήκαμε. Είμαι κάθετος. Παπά, σε παρακαλώ. Άρτεμις Μέλισσα!
στο πάρτι.
Μη μου πέσεις τη μαμά! Ξέρεις τι έχω περάσει τόσο καιρό, Αν ζεσταθεί με αγάπη, μήπως γίνει καλά.